From Studio 1A in Tampa, Florida, comes a talk show that really feels your pain and tells you like it is. We love America and all that freedom-loving Americans want to protect. Live from coast to coast and on your radio, it's For the People with Keith Allen.
We'll help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people. Whatever your source of stress or strife, for the people is there.
Well, hello, Mr. and Mrs. America. I am Keith Allen and proudly welcoming you into this Thursday's edition of For the People. It's July the 27th, 2017, and man, this month has really flown by, and we're already school shopping in my house. Went out and bought some school clothes, and we got the binder that Kaylee needed, so that was always good. We weren't able to find it at Office Depot, but we went over to Staples, and they had it. Thank God that there's other stores out there, but man, we thought we were pretty lucky over, what's about 2 weeks out now? Yeah, about 2 weeks out, but you got to get it started because you don't want to be last minute. You got to get the right clothes. You got to get the right school supplies. And I saw a really, really cool news story last night, and it happened to do with a school teacher. And this is really all over the country. But one of the teachers, she was very creative on how she was going to get school supplies, and she went out and she panhandled. That's right, she panhandled for school supplies. And what happened was, bigger than she ever thought, she had local businesses donate money and even adopt her classroom. But a lot of teachers are really hurting for school supplies. And I would say it would irk me a little bit because, you're paying for everything already, seemingly for your kid, with things that they need and stuff like that to do their homework at home, et cetera, and then they always have their hands out, and it's just that schools are really maxed out. They really don't have the funding, and teachers, they really do not get paid what they need. And this school teacher in particular was only getting paid around $30,000 a year, and she took $1,000 out of her paycheck and lends that money towards her classroom and to things for her class. And I thought, there's a teacher for you. There's a teacher. And who adopted the classroom, this business owner said that if it wasn't for teachers like you, I wouldn't be here. And I would have to say that I am very, very reminded of that from a English teacher, and she taught reading, Mrs. Lang in Newton, New Jersey. If it wasn't for her, she made reading interesting. I was going through a tough time, rough patch. My parents were, going through a divorce, so there was a little, issues going on at the home. And whenever I would go to her class, I look forward to it. Unlike some other teachers that I had, but she made learning fun, and she really cared. She was a real teacher, very caring, and it was just, I wanted to learn because of her. And thank God that there's teachers out there that have that same mindset, their heart's in the right place. And, don't get into teaching because you want to make a lot of money. Get into teaching because you want to make a difference in young minds. And you just never know who you're going to be teaching in that classroom. It could be the next Bill Gates. It could be the next small business owner in your town that employs people but makes a big difference in your town. It doesn't matter. Everybody has a contribution, but teachers do make a difference. If you're a teacher out there, if you have a son or a daughter that teaches, man, our hat's off to you. You guys are the real heroes out there doing a great job, and for a little money. So the next time the school system might be knocking on your door, just be reminded that I don't got much money coming in these days. States are taxed. Cities are taxed. I just don't have enough money going around. So they're just doing what they can do. And if you can volunteer at your school and PTA, whatever you can do at your local schoolhouse, man, go over there and make a difference. And yeah, you might have some screaming kids, but hey, order now in the classroom. Scaramucci, man. The Daily Show has already been at it, and everyone's saying the skit was kind of probably one of the best skits they've ever put together. Now, this is radio, so I want to try to explain a little bit as we go along here with what's going on here with the imagery.
Getting the simplest point.
Getting it done. And there's hand gesturing going on. Scaramucci and Donald Trump are very talkative with their hands. Now, obviously, Scaramucci, it's an Italian name. Italians talk with their hands. People loved it. People eating up Scaramucci, and, very close to the president. And president really surrounds himself with people that are like him. Successful, nothing wrong with that. Millionaires, billionaires, nothing wrong with that. Scaramucci is kind of explaining a little bit of the president and, his temperament and all that good stuff. And I really thought he articulated it pretty well. Washington, too, getting into the fray, being there in that city, what really he has to contend with and what the president has to contend with being in the swamp. So here we go.
Well, I think he's a practical person above everything, and I think he realizes that he has to take a process of entrepreneurial incrementalism through this, and we may not get everything that we want right now, but let's go for some wins here, and then over time we can really develop the right strategy, program, and policy for the American people. This organization or this city known as Washington, D.C., is a pretty tough place. It has a very thick immunological system. The president is literally like a donor organ transplant into the system to make the city actually much healthier. But the first move for an immunological system is to attack the organ transplant. But in the meantime, if they would just relax and suppress these instincts of hurting the president, they would find that the policies that he's about to put forth are great for the American people, will likely get the people elected or reelected that are voting for them. But I just think there's a lot of bad habits to break in this town, and we're going to work on it one step, one day at a time to make that happen.
Immunological, like an organ transplant. You got to love it. Never really heard it broken down quite like that. I knew I was going to love Scaramucci. Miss Sean Spicer, but I think Scaramucci is definitely going to be the shakeup, and shakeups are happening already cracking heads and very upset, apparently, as he's taken this communications position in the White House. There has been, apparently, somebody's been leaking information, which he considers a felony, into his financials. He says, this is Anthony Scaramucci, says, in light of the leak of my financial disclosure into what is a felony, I will be contacting the FBI and the Justice Department at Swamp at Royce 45, he tweeted. He included Priebus' handle. And then the tweet followed a political report on the former Wall Street financier's financial holdings. Now, what people are speculating wildly right now is that the reason that he included Royce Priebus is because people are speculating that he believes, or people are trying to read the tea leaves, that Royce Priebus is the guy who is actually leaking these things. He's the leaker. It's been proposed, and Scaramucci obviously has the qualities, could take over Royce's position. Many people, Politico has said, a lot of other pundits have said, this is a possibility that he might be in line or next in line for this particular thing. But he has promised one thing in the White House is that he will fire everyone, unless he can get to the bottom of where these leaks are coming down. I think he's going to make good with the promises for sure. He's going to be cracking the whip. And I think this is the only way that you can really get to the bottom of what's happening. And sometimes decisions have to be made, tough ones that are hard, especially when you get people in the White House that, you're working alongside and you think you know them and you find out that they're the leaker, the least suspected person. And I hope, God forbid, I hope it's not Royce Priebus. I mean, that would be a horrible thing, and that would be really embarrassing for him, but they're going to have to drain the swamp, and, you're not going to be able to do that overnight, but at least in the White House. But interesting, his inclusion of Priebus, and then the Twitter handle. This pretty much spiraled reporters into the story right now about this and asking the feds to probe Priebus possibly. But Scaramucci subsequently, he removed the tweet and denied that that was the case. So he has distanced himself since. So if it wasn't that he was accusatory of him and he didn't really mean anything by it, maybe he was just simply letting Priebus know that that's what was coming down so he could relay that information. Now, I think he's... you know what? They're one of the same. I think that the hand movements, the gesturing, and everything, you got to see the movie. Or, excuse me, you got to see the skit. It is absolutely hilarious. But the movements are great. I think if anybody's got the president down with the mindset of a Donald Trump, it's Anthony Scaramucci. He certainly, he's been a very close friend of Donald Trump and the family for many, many years. So, when you know somebody practically can, like a married couple, you could complete their sentences. And this might be the very case. It's family. Forget about it, sit down. Let's have some wine. But that's what's going on here, and it's going to get interesting, I would have to say. But here's the tweet from Anthony Scaramucci this morning, and basically from all the reporters, CNN going off on it. He just quickly says, wrong tweet was public notice to leakers that senior administration officials are helping to end illegal tweets. So again, he had to come back at CNN because they were the people, that was the network, the fake news network coming out this morning that had mentioned Priebus in his original tweet and made such a big deal out of it. So Scaramucci has vowed, though, that there will be a leak crackdown, and he had a very good interview with Sean Hannity last night, and he says, we are going to let people go if we have to. And one of the big problems that I am discovering is that the senior people are really the guys doing the leaking, and they are junior people to leak for them. He thinks they're junior. He says they're senior people, but for them to do this, he considers them to be junior people. So whether these rollovers from the RNC, it's speculated that that could be the case. And it seems like they're going to get to the bottom of this. So there's going to be an FBI investigation, CIA, who knows, is going to go in there. But he's going to use every tool possible to be able to get down to. You can't do business. It's really disruptive. Just to think to be able to get into the White House. But the fight, as you can see, still continues, even internally, even with what's happening in Washington with healthcare and with his own party. They got the majority that don't mean anything. We can't even get healthcare done. And that's still, they're still trying to get something passed. They're still trying to get enough votes to be able to get this thing legislated, trying to repeal it. But man, the more and more I look at this thing, this, as some say, could take up to 2 years to be able to get anything done. But focusing on perhaps other things and good things that are happening around the country. Let's listen to Scaramucci again.
Well, in some ways, yes, but in a lot of ways, not, because I do think the mantle of leadership that the president's providing now to the Republican Party, most of these guys are smart enough to take the baton from him and to start running with it. And so my guess is that over time, we're going to gravitate into those areas. We announced here at 5 o'clock a new jobs initiative. New plants moving into the United States from overseas are going to create new jobs. There's a tremendous amount of positive things that we're seeing reflected in the stock market and in consumer confidence and CEO confidence just from the president's leadership now. If